So we're going to start today's video off with a bit of commentary. I'm fitting the sound deadening and the heat shield back to the firewall. I'm also fitting the brake servo back to the firewall, and then the master cylinder onto the brake cylinder. Now, when I was painting the bay, I had numerous bits of pipe work and holes covered over with a bit silver foil. So that's me just picking the foil off the firewall. That hole's where the engine harness goes into the firewall. The next bit there was just taking the tape off the heater matrix and the air con pipes. Once that's done, I was reinstalling the windscreen wiper unit. Then in this place here is where your water drains down. You've got two little grommets that's sitting there that let any water that's caught in the scuttle panel run out between the engine and the firewall. And then installing the alarm, then onto the ABS unit. I then put the aircon pipes in place. Getting bits and pieces of it, wipe up where they've got a bit of dirt on. And another bit of sound deadening on the right hand side turret. And what I've done for the heat shields, you'll know yourself if you're taking the large washers off, they start to eat through the aluminium. So when I'm reinstalling the heat shields, I'm putting large plastic discs between the washer and the aluminium, so it saves any corrosion between the two materials in the future. So you'll see that I'm moving all the way along the bottom of the heat shield, putting that on, but I've also put the front heat shield on for the aircon pipe, which later has to come off for the rear brake lines. So I'm now starting to run the brake lines from the servo to the ABS unit.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9.
Now those brake lines were a bit fiddly. I had to move some of the heat shield about. So this is me just wrapping them back up with more heat tape.
I'm a straight killer, rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast.
I also found them hard to clip into place. There's clips that hold the pipework in place, but with the thickness of the pipes I found it quite hard to clip into place. Now remove that front heat shield just to get another couple of pipes in which tuck behind. And they are the rear brake lines. You'll see me having a few more issues getting them clipped into place. Vacuum line over the top, replacing the heat shields, putting one of those plastic washers in as well as the normal washer, to then take it back off to fit the fuel lines. now fit the heat shield back on for the third time. And that should be the last time. So this is the engine bay with the basics in. I missed quite a bit of video footage getting the engine on the crane, moving it in over. So this is the engine being moved into the bay. Once it's all lined up, it's pretty easy to get it bolted in. You've got the 2 bolts in the subframe at the back, 2 bolts at the subframe at the front, and then you've got a rubber mount either side, one on the engine side, one on the gearbox side, which fits to the car. You'll see as it's lifted on the crane there, it's actually leaning over to the left hand side. This is due to the weight of the gearbox. So all we do there is we just manipulate it on the back end to make it straight. You can see Rob just standing on the scaffy bar there. Get the bolts in the back, then lift the engine up. Put the subframe bolts in the front. Most importantly, to include the brackets which hold the front bumper on. And then just lining up those bolts on the engine side and the gearbox side mounts. Whilst being squirted by the nephew with a water pistol. This is us just finally finished now, ready to take this engine hoist off. You're just checking all the bolts are tight. See the engine hoist out of the way. And me with a big smile on my face. And this is just to show you the inside of the bay, what we've installed, and how it's bolted up. A few still photos. Building up the next few parts. The intake pipes, the intake. Washer bottle. So just a little update on the wiring harness. The harness of the 2009 VXR doesn't have front parking sensors on. So there's depinning the front parking sensor off the old harness and putting on the new one. And then when it's all up and running, we'll get it all set up again, get the parking sensors working again. So to remove the pins out of the plug, I'll show you that way. Oh, there's a locking mechanism, and this slides in there. Once that's out, I can use the pin removal tool. Fits in. There you go. You'll feel a click. And once that's clicked, the pin will about come out. And what I'll do is I'll just take this all the way back to the main plug, which is here, and then that is to go into here. To get that out, I'm just using a little screw into the rubber grommet. That pops out. Put the rubber grommet in. Plug where it's not being used on the old harness. You see that there. This new one Just slide in. You can hear a little click, and that's it clipped into place. So I've got two more to do. So now that's the front parking sensors wired into the main harness plug, which plugs into that one, which goes inside to the BCM. Just need to dress all this wiring into this loom, and it will sit down here on the end of this loom here, which is the temperature sensor. So this is the front end, totally finished for now. We're still waiting for parts to put the front end, i.e. drive shafts in, bottom arms, but everything's good to go. And the wiring harness that I was putting in earlier on for the front parking sensors is also there. So time to rip the interior out, get all the internal wiring done.